Hello and welcome to another members only video. Today I want to talk about the magic system of Tolkien. And while I don't think you all will have the answers to some of these questions, I just want to raise a few things that I found interesting in the text as Tolkien writes, and just discuss what the magic of Middle-earth is all about. So one of the things I hear over and over is how Tolkien is creating just like a soft system of magic. I think in my mind, I define that just like as an ambiguous magic system. One where you don't really see magic all that often, and then one that also doesn't go into detail about some of the things that are happening. So I don't know if you're going to have the answers to some of these questions, because it just kind of feels like Tolkien's work just stays forever at a soft magic system. I would kind of be very intrigued and curious if he went into detail about that. And to be honest, it just feels like to me like he wouldn't, but only a tiny percentage into the work of Tolkien, so maybe he does. But the reason that I was thinking this because of the drink that Pippin was given by the Uruks. Now, when I read this again, it might not necessarily be magic, but maybe more so like the magic of a bit of alcohol or something like that. But I don't know. When I first read this, I didn't interpret it as alcohol. Rather, I thought this was kind of more of a magical draft or a potion that Saruman gave them to put a little fire under their feet. But it also has incredible properties where it seems to do one of two things. It either, one, heals the person of their aches and pains, or number two, it just heightens their strength so that they can keep going. And in this instance, I'm kind of thinking of Brandon Sanderson's, I think you burn pewter or something like that, and you gain a lot of strength. I think that was it, pewter burning. I'm almost positive, but I might be wrong on that one. But I'm actually pretty pumped to keep reading Brandon Sanderson. I'm going to start implementing that when I kind of finally catch up to some of the essays, which will be next week. But anyway, in the Fellowship of the Ring, we see something that bears a weird similarity to the drink that Pippin was given. And I'll talk about this more in a bit, but it makes the magic in that world seem much more neutral than I figured. It's as if anyone can tap into the power of magic. But if you were evil, the magic will seem evil. And if you're good, the magic will seem good. I haven't encountered a lot of books that have a deep magic system. And again, I'm reading Brandon Sanderson right now. And that has a bit more of a defined, like, I guess you'd call it a hard magic system. But I'm actually curious too, would Sanderson's work be classified or qualified as being a hard magic system? But the whole thing is a little tricky for me to understand because I don't come from like a D&D background. And I would love to kind of get into some D&D. But I don't have that background, so I don't know a lot of what this entails. In the Fellowship of the Ring, they drink from the Miruvor, the Miruvor, I think, 3, maybe 4 times. The book describes it this way the first time they drink. "This will be the death of the halflings," Gandalf said Boromir. "It is useless to sit here until the snow goes over our heads. We must do something to save ourselves." "Give them this," said Gandalf, searching in his pack and drawing out a leather flask. "Just a mouthful each for all of us. It is very precious. It is Miruvor, the cordial of Imladris. Elrond gave it to me at our parting. Pass it round." As soon as Frodo had swallowed a little of the warm, fragrant liquor, he felt a new strength of heart, and the heavy drowsiness left his limbs. The others also revived and found fresh hope and vigor, but the snow did not relent. It whirled about them thicker than ever, and the wind blew louder. This just feels so reminiscent of the drinks that the orcs made and gave Merry and Pippin, but is maybe just like a more purified form of that? Is this like, is this Tolkien kind of going into the way of like industrialism and like factories and how you create something beautiful and then all of a sudden these factories are creating these knockoffs that aren't really healthy or good for you? To be honest, maybe that's kind of like where he's going a little bit in that direction, where he's kind of like lending an ear to the idea that, of like cheap knockoffs that are actually dangerous for you. And if we're thinking about maybe how they concoct this drink, perhaps it's just concocted in different regions, and like maybe the healing properties of this drink stay the same, but the taste can change depending on the need of the drinker. I can't imagine orcs and uruks drinking like a fragrant and light liquor. They seem like maybe like a dark stout kind of person. Definitely not like IPA guys. They might have like a good whiskey too, but I feel like they would never have anything sweet or tangy like port or rum or any of those kind of drinks. They're definitely not vodka guys. But the other times that the Fellowship drinks the good liquor are in the Journey in the Dark chapter. And it just does it to kind of like raise their spirits. This was the section of the book. It was evening, and the gray light was again waning fast, when they had halted for the night. They were very weary. The mountains were veiled in deepening dusk, and the wind was cold. Gandalf spared them one more mouthful each of the Miruvor of Rivendell. When they had eaten some food, he called a council. Then again, a few pages later, it says this: "Let us sit and rest and have something to eat here on the landing, since we can't find a dining room," said Frodo. He had begun to shake off the terror of the clutching arm, and suddenly he felt extremely hungry. The proposal was welcomed by all, and they sat down on the upper steps, dim figures in the gloom. After they had eaten, Gandalf gave them each a third sip of the Miruvor of Rivendell. And I can't find any other instance, but I could have sworn they drank it one more time before Gandalf falls, but I just can't find that. Anyway, then we also, within this like magical eating system, that's what I'm going to name it now, we get the lembas bread as well, which feels magical, but I've never really had wheat bread before, so maybe actual wheat bread really does feel like one small bite does fill the stomach of a grown man. I don't know about that. And this drink kind of got me thinking about all the other forms of magic that we do see in the series as well. And at this point, there aren't that many. I think the moment on Caradhras was magical, or again, my pronunciations. Caradhras was magical when the mountain is coming down. But again, that might be just me reading the movies into my interpretation here. You also have the moment in Rivendell when the rivers kind of take over the Nazgul. That seems very magical. Then potentially you have the magical healing abilities of Elrond. Now this one seems a bit more logical and science-based than I'd say magical, but it still feels like there is some kind of magic behind it. Gandalf does some light spell work, and the spells kind of seem really cool, but the movies don't explore all that much like what Gandalf is really doing. I do remember in the video games playing as Gandalf, and he could kind of shoot things out of his staff. I don't know yet, but I don't think he could do that in the book. In the book, the main magical battle happens between the Balrog and Gandalf. And all the magic just seems way over my head, but I love that because it kind of seems like it's all over the Fellowship's heads as well. The magic system in this world seems like it's only able to be used by beings who are almost as old as the oldest characters in this tale. Like Galadriel, Sauron, Gandalf, Elrond, and maybe the Balrog. All these people who are magical also seem ancient and old in this series. So because I'm right before this chapter, I'm actually super curious to see if there's any kind of magic that Treebeard or the Ents will possess, because their mere existence seems magical. But the only other real form of magic that I'm remembering is the Mirror of Galadriel. And in that one, I already did an essay about it, on how that was kind of confusing, but also cool. I love the ambiguity of it and just how much it shows, like, how much I feel like literature kind of steals from that. And I'm curious, again, I'm trying to think of this, if Tolkien stole this idea of the mirror from like any epics or any like, Greek tales or something like that. But the lesser form of these drafts and cordials and drinks is the one thing that kind of caught me up onto this. One seems good and the other seems bad. But that also seems the way that I interpret it, because maybe the elves are good and the orcs are bad. Are these just the same cordial? Did the orcs potentially steal some of the Miruvor? And perhaps this is showing the bias of Pippin here. Is it like almost like a placebo? Maybe the one thing that changes is your perception of the drink based on who gives it to you. And maybe it actually changes magically depending on the hand that gives it to you too, like the Polyjuice potion of Harry Potter. But again, maybe this is just showing the bias of Pippin. Because imagine if that's the same drink as the Miruvor. Then Pippin is just perceiving this drink to be herbal and aromatic because Gandalf gives it to him. And maybe the same is true of orcs, but because it's the orcs giving it to him, he finds it hot and the liquor burns through him. Now again, I don't think Tolkien is going to have the answers to some of these questions, but I just think all this is to say that I'm really loving the magical system in these books. Because it just feels like you can have so many different interpretations of the magic, and it can work in so many different ways, that I just feel like fans might debate this kind of thing for hours. I know I probably will do as soon as I finish these books. So let me know if let me know if I can expect a chapter or two in the Silmarillion that goes into the magical system and that can show me what it entails. I'm just really curious about this. And also curious about what other books that you guys have read that you love the magical system in. I'm a Harry Potter fan, so that's an obvious one to me. But how do you all like the Brandon Sanderson style? And just, yeah, give me some other good books that are like good magical systems. I know people love the His Dark Materials. Very excited to read that one too. I feel like my list is going to keep me busy till I'm 60, which is a good reading list, I guess. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys again for being members. You guys are keeping this channel afloat. Let me see what else I can do for you guys as members too. If you have any other ideas, I'm all ears. But just thank you again. I really appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys in the next one.